All right, folks, you already know this is a Shanda type of week, so we're back. This time we have her offspring, her demon semen, if you will, that is being sentenced. Now we're gonna go through his what do you call it? It's like when you read your letter to the judge and ask him, please don't ruin my life, please don't end my life, that type of thing. He's gonna give his statement or whatever, and we're going to go ahead and check it out and see how we feel about it. Anyways, without further ado, people, all the Patreon members, I love you guys. Appreciate y'all. All the YouTube members, you guys are awesome. Let's go ahead and fuck with this video.
What reasons could justify my actions? I could make up 1,000 and never believe one. What words could voice my regrets? I can think of millions, yet never feel it's enough. If I could do it all...
This boy started this shit like a poem. He was like, what words could I come with? There would never be enough. Like, what type of... I mean, somebody wrote this for him, I'm sure. This is his third time reading it.
1,000 and never believe one. What words could voice my regrets? I can think of millions, yet never feel it's enough. If I could do it all again and do it right, I would. I feel I will pay for my choices and yet never feel better because he's still gone. I have had time to think during my time in Muskegon County Jail, and I've realized many things about myself that I might never have considered otherwise. My problems and flaws, to put it simply, are the place to begin correction of self. I asked the judge for nothing more than mercy and fairness, to offer me compassion so I might learn from him.
Judge said, mercy, bet. Give me a minute. That's crazy. Like, so basically he's just asking, like, please just go easy on me. I've been in jail. I don't really like it. It's not really my cup of tea. You know what I mean? It's probably a place I could get taken advantage of. This is probably not really my type of situation. I mean, all I hear is him begging not to go to jail. The whole thing about Timothy, like him feeling bad about Timothy, lasted for about 5 seconds. Now he's talking about how he's going to fix himself. Like, it's not really about you, bro. You killed your little bro, basically.
I only hope to better myself in the coming days and serve my time with what little honor I have left.
What honor do you have?
To make right my fault in search of a better tomorrow.
Hold on, that messed up. Let me see if it's just recorded that way or...
So I might learn from him. I only hope to better myself in the coming days and serve my time with what little honor I have left. To make right my fault in search of a better tomorrow.
Okay, the recording just messed up, but even the recording was like, damn, bro, shut the fuck up. This is not legit at all. And just the way his face looks, the way he read the letter, it's not making me feel like he's sad about it. He could care less. He's just sad that he's in court right now getting sentenced for it. He was like, damn, it didn't work. I couldn't blame my mother. All right, so basically we're just moving forward. I just wanted to give you guys a little snippet of like what he was saying. The whole hearing, I think, is about an hour long, but that was the main part. And the second main part that I want to bring to you guys is Paul's reaction to the actual sentencing, because I'm pretty sure he was thinking about, he was assuming it was going to be a cool little, a little 10 years, cut that down to 5, add another 5 with probation. I'm a kid, and I'm mentally challenged, even though he just looks mentally challenged. He's not. Apparently his IQ is regular, so he's just a weirdo. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and see what the judge has to say about this entire situation and how much time he's actually getting.
Staff the clinic, he's become bossy, telling his siblings what to do.
Look at how he's looking at just look at his face while the judge is talking about him, and you can kind of deduce that he is not really that nice of a person. He can't really hide it that well.
For Mr. Ferguson's part, reportedly, when commenting about his being irritable, he admits that this is due to his younger siblings not listening. He gets physically aggressive towards his younger siblings. He also tried to lock his younger brother i.e. apparently a reference to the decedent in the closet because his brother wouldn't listen to him. So the court read this and certainly looks at this as someone who is predisposed, I think was the ultimate conclusion, predisposed to abuse his brother. Specifically, the victim in this case. He had a history of doing that. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that Mr. Ferguson is a result of years and years and years of physical neglect and abuse on behalf of his mother. No doubt in my mind that's borne out in this report. But the court is asked to essentially ignore the decisions or his behavior because of that, and to somehow say that we're going to minimize the damage and what he did in this case because of that. If the court started imposing that standard, I think it would be in a real trouble, because every defendant that comes before this court has a horrible history, I would say. That's the reason they're here. People that have supportive parents and things go good for them typically don't come here. Now, that's not always the case. Believe me, there's a lot of interventions, but everybody has a history. And what I was looking at is whether or not this is a product of his mother or his situation. And what I can conclude is,
I think before he says what he says, I think it was both. You know, it's kind of a product of his environment, because he probably, think about it, that's all he kind of knew. Her hating on his little brother, and then what do you do as the older brother? I don't know. Me personally, I was never the older sibling, so I don't really know what that's like. But I feel like I would be like, at a certain age, you're kind of like, okay, chill. Like, you know, if she's hating on him to a level where he's being hurt, you should have enough sense to be like, okay, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make any sense. I don't like him, but he's my little brother. I love him. So that's the little part where I feel like it didn't match up with him. He just followed his mom, whatever she was doing. So yeah, I mean, you gotta take the consequence too. Like, he's bigger than her, stronger than her, all that. So he could have easily just simply told her, like, nah, I'm not gonna do this. Or he could have snitched on her. He could have told the neighbors. He could have did anything. But yeah, no. He gave in to the whole hate my little brother thing. She did kind of plant that there, but I feel like he gave into it.
that this is not. Mr. Ferguson is trying to shift blame from him to his mother, to say that somehow, well, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have done this, or she's the one that did this. At the trial, well, at her order, he kept saying it over and over and over again as it just keep underscoring the point.
Look at his face. Every time you catch him in a lie, he has zero social skills. Like, bro, the judge said something that was true, and his face just goes down and curls up like, no. Like, come on, dog. Everybody knew they coached you to say that shit at her order. Like, you don't even talk like that. The cross-examination is crazy. You could tell he's trying to remember what they told him, because every once in a while he'll like squint his eyes and like, instead of just answer, he'll like squint his eyes and then answer in a really robotic way. It was too obvious. Like, the defense attorneys didn't really have much to work with, to be honest, because again, zero social skills, not convincing at all.
And if that had been an isolated incident, if that had been one or two of these things, if that had been a punishment that he administered, maybe the court could accept that. But we have an individual who was in a household for 6 months, intentionally himself engaging in torture of another person. And he is, well, I'm worried about my mom's going to say. Clearly it's not borne out in these reports. He had the ability to disobey his mom. In fact, he was on the stand and almost boasted that, well, I gave him extra food. Well, weren't you worried about how your mom was going to be upset? I still gave him extra food. So what that tells me is that this has been a careful, manipulated manipulated story by Mr. Ferguson from the very beginning of this thing, that he's going to put the blame on his mom. I'm going to be manipulated. I have Asperger's syndrome. I have autism. I have Stockholm syndrome. There's mention of him saying, well, maybe I have Stockholm syndrome in here. No, this is...
Yeah, see, bro is literally trying to be the R word. Like, you know what I mean? He's trying to be slow. He's trying to look slow, act slow. I swear. So maybe when he did his whole testimony, like, you know, previous to this, maybe he really was just kind of acting as slow as he could. Because when I tell you, he would pause, squint his face up, ask them to rephrase the question. Just a bunch of slow people shit. You know what I'm talking about? He was trying it. He really tried it. And he kind of had me too. But now if you watch him today, if you look at him today, he kind of looks normal, right? He doesn't, you know, maybe it's the weight he gained. Everybody gains weight in prison. I don't know why. But he looks more normal compared to the last time he testified. I'll say that much.
An individual. What the truth of this is that we have two individuals that lack empathy, who lack emotion. And both of them, the triggering factor in this report.
He knows he's going to jail at this point. He knows he's getting as much as the judge could give him. That's what he's getting. I think he's starting to realize it right about this point.
The triggering factor that caused this abuse was the removal of the husband, of stepdad. Once he was gone, these two individuals were free to torture somebody, and they did it. That's what they did. And I think Ms. Vander Ark did use Mr. Ferguson. I think that she knew from his history that he was predisposed to torment Timothy. I think that she knew that he would have no problem doing that. And Mr. Ferguson walked through that door and was happy to be the enforcer, was happy to do it.
Yeah. I think he's right. You know, you have that little evil, you know, like, I feel like your siblings, they be evil sometimes, you know, in all good fun. Not in good fun, but, you know, they be evil sometimes. But I feel like he took it to the next level, bro. Because everybody has their little moments. But the way he looks, he seems like one of the siblings that just wants to, you know, have control over everybody. And like I said, he just took it to the next level. His mom made him feel like that was cool. Like, yeah, go ahead. Fuck him up. Beat him up. Starve him, you know, like all that shit.
To torture his brother over and over and over and over until he was a shell of a person, until he was dead, died from starvation, died from hypothermia. Mm-hmm. He had no fat on him, barely any muscle on him. And the whole time, just letting it happen.
And keep in mind, he's not 14, 15, 16, 17. I think he was 19. Like, come on. You are not stupid, bro. You know what the fuck is going on. You already developed your own mind. Mom's word is just a suggestion at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you done figured out your own type of situation. Come on, bro. You got me fucked up. No, she made me do it, bro. You're okay. The
report says it appears that the stepfather's presence in the home had prevented Paul and his mother from abusing the victim. Yep. Again, it wasn't anything to do. They were just holding him back, essentially. The overall opinion, which I think is important, is, in my opinion, although the defendant's participation in the abuse was in a part a function of his social milieu and living situation, these contextual factors were not a necessary condition for his participation. As previously noted, mental health records contain information to the effect that while they were still living with their father and stepmother and reportedly had no contact with their mother, Mr. Ferguson's stepmother told the psychiatrist that he has become bossy, telling his sibling what to do, and the defendant himself that he would become irritable due to his younger siblings not listening.
And that's all normal. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's all normal. You want to be bossy, you want to be the person of the house. But I feel like he doesn't understand that he took it too far, or he was taking it too far, or he didn't care. And I feel like he just didn't care. And then he tried to play stupid. Like, I didn't know. I just thought, this is... Yeah, he tried to play stupid. If you look at him right now, he looks regular. He might look super awkward, socially, just like has no social skills, really awkward, probably can't keep any eye contact, but autistic? Nah. Mental issues? Nah. He's just a dickhead.
Physically aggressive, told his younger sibling. He also reports that he's gotten irritated with his siblings and has pushed them in retaliation. He's also tried to lock his younger brother, the decedent, in the closet because his brothers wouldn't listen to him. Consistent with this, Norton Shores Police Department documents indicate that Mr. Ferguson's stepsister told police that, quote, he is the biggest bully she's ever met in her life, and he found genuine joy in tormenting Timothy whenever possible when they were living in the biological father's home. Notably, the defendant allegedly engaged in this abusive behavior despite there being any safety rules in place, and despite his father and stepmother disapproving of this behavior to such an extent that they removed him from their home once he turned 18 because of it. In my opinion, Paul Ferguson was predisposed to abuse his brother independent of his mother's present and active influence in his life.
Crazy. So what do you guys think? You think she picked up on his evil and they decided to team up, or you think he picked up on hers? That would be crazy. Listen, what if he was the mastermind? Like, what if she kind of saw that in him and she was like, yeah, fuck Timothy. He ruins everything. You know what I mean? And it kind of was Paul that influenced her. That would be an interesting side to it. Because what the judge is saying is he thinks Paul already like picking on Timothy to like a core level, not just regular big brother shit, to like a serious level before Shanda Vander Ark came to the picture. So, I don't know. That would be a crazy little twist, though.
Nonetheless, in my opinion, Mr. Ferguson's involvement in repeated acts of abuse that amounted to physical and psychological torture over a period of months reflects a general lack of empathy for his brother and a lack of remorse for his actions. It concludes that, in my opinion, there is no reason to believe that Mr. Ferguson's conduct disorder has remitted or that his participation in the abuse of his brother was not an expression of a persistent pattern of antisocial conduct. The court is concerned that Mr. Ferguson will not get the help he needs in prison. I think he's one step away from becoming a psychopath like his mother.
Damn. Okay, shit. All right, Judge. Shit.
The court is concerned that he represents a danger to the public. That if released, he would represent a significant danger to the public. The charge here is child abuse, and I don't think this charge or the sentencing guidelines take into adequate consideration of the long sustained torture in this case. As I indicated in Ms. Vander Ark's testimony, there was a long period of months of various punishments, including bread with hot sauce. There's the hot sauce that apparently contains 2 of the hottest peppers that we have in the world. Wall sits for an individual who practically had no muscle left. Running up and down stairs, cleaning out a garage with no pants on, sleep deprivation in itself. Putting alarms on him so he couldn't move or sleep. Making him puke up food. There's bathroom timers. Sleeping in the closet with a tarp down.
Yeah, see, this was a full-on operation. This wasn't even regular abuse. You know what I'm saying? This was like a full-on torture camp. You know what I'm saying? With schedules and regimens. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, he has to run up them stairs if he moves. He has to keep his hands above his head all night. You know, put the motion sensors on. We're going to count them how many times he fucks up. Then we're going to have him run stairs for fucking up. Then after that, we're not going to feed him. We're going to put, like, it's too many steps, bro. Like, this is all they did. This was their, some people watch Netflix, and what they did was fuck with with his little brother. And it's shit's crazy to me. Like, that's all they did. The amount of shit they did to him, that's all you can honestly do at the end of the day. That's all you could do after work is torture little bro. That's...
which, quite frankly, might be considered animal abuse. But we have a human being here. making his hands over his head. And then at the end of his life, an 8-hour practically ice bath that killed him. So no, I don't think any of those things are adequately taken into consideration by the guidelines.
He's trying to make himself turn red, all this shit, trying to look sad. Bro, get the fuck out of here. Just sit up straight.
I don't think the guidelines, quite frankly, can even... These guidelines don't justify Mr. Ferguson's actions. Mr. Ferguson, I think you are a product of your environment, but I don't believe you that you're sorry. I don't. I don't think you have empathy. I don't think you have any emotion whatsoever. And that's what scares the court. It really scares me. I think you're sorry that you're here. I think you're sorry you got caught. I don't think you wanted Tim to die either, like your mother, because you would get caught and you wouldn't torture him anymore.
And what happens when Timothy turns 19 or 18 or 17 or any age where he decides to start swinging knives at people? What happens then? You know what I'm saying? Then there's a problem. Shit. So they're just lucky he didn't really find a food source. Like, sadly, he didn't have all his mobility and all that shit. If it was like just a 15-year-old who didn't have that many issues, listen, he probably would have found some food, got his shit going, ran away. Man, unfortunate for him, though. I'm not going to lie.
And believe me, I've tried to sit here and try to think, well, maybe Mr. Ferguson's not as bad as Mom. I think you're just as bad, if not worse.
Possibly worse.
If not worse. Because you had a job. You could have, Mr. Johnson actually asked you, couldn't you have brought home a thing of food for him? You could have gone to a neighbor and said, hey, my mom's abusing him. You could have grabbed him and got him out of there. You could have done any number of things to stop this. And you chose not to. Your own brother. And this is where we're at. So, based on all that, it's a sentence of the court. You serve 30 years to 100 years, Michigan Department of Corrections.
Oh, he looked up. He looked up like he seen a ghost. Oh, first time you see this little shit face sit up straight. Now look at him real closely, y'all. Doesn't he look super regular right here compared to his prosecution previously? He was really dumbing himself down, trying to act stupid. That reaction right there, that's a real reaction. He looked up like, whoa. Hold on, back it up.
Based on all
life,
that,
dog.
it's a sentence of the court. You serve 30 years to 100 years, Michigan Department of Corrections.
Think about that shit. You're not going to get no pussy for 30 years. He probably never got pussy before in his life because he's weird as shit, so he probably still a virgin, right? Think about that. That's the first thing I would think about. I'm like, oh, I'm going back for 30 years? And I'm not, nah. In the game, bro. We gotta figure out how to get up out of here. This shit is crazy, bro. You know, and then you get out when you're like what, 45? Nobody's fucking with you, weirdo. You're fucked, dog. It's over with. It's over with.
Credit for 592 days you've already served. Court's going to assess a $68
I like how he
state
said you got them 500 days though that you already served. Don't worry, we're gonna credit that to you, OG. Don't even trip. You could have that 500 days real quick.
Loss, $130 crime victim rights assessment. No additional fines and costs. Mr. Ferguson, you have a right to file an appeal in this case. If you're financially unable to retain an attorney, one will be appointed to a public expense. Request for the assistance of a lawyer must be made within 42 days from today's date. Clerk is handing you a form that you must complete. Return to the court in that 42 days if you wish to request the appointment.
30 to 100 years. Ain't that some shit? To 100 years. I don't even know what that means. Like, what does that mean? Like, if we feel like 100 years tomorrow, we're just going to say fuck it? Like, I don't know. Usually it's like the amount of years, but 30 to 100, either anything out of that range is not good. No bueno. Not very good. Not good at all. You can't even have a conjugal visit as him because he doesn't know no female. So it's like nobody's coming to visit you, bro. That's crazy. Better start getting the pen pal and start sending notes out to people and shit. Try to find love through the mail or some shit. That shit is crazy. But anyways, people, that was Mr. Paul Ferguson. We're going to do the Shanda Vander Ark, the sentencing in a minute. I might do another one today. Just stay tuned. You never know. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Love y'all. I'm tired of this shit, but I had to bring this to you guys. But until the next one, I'll see you guys later. I'm out.